Okay guys, it's been a long time since we've had the video here. Just doing a little update. We finally got a road trip here. I just had to take a little trip outside of Chattanooga here. I'm about 20 minutes outside Chattanooga, and I am now headed back to North Alabama, back to Huntsville. The truck did great. I had fully charged the truck 100%. It showed, I think I have a picture I'll upload on the video, but 260 miles nearly to a standard range, 100% charge. And we have the new update in the truck where it sort of estimates the trip. So when I got in the truck and threw in the route through the Ford planner here, it had showed with driving conditions and mountains and wind and, you know, highway speeds, 180 miles realistic range out of my tank, and arriving to my destination with 43% battery. Well, I got easily 2.5 kilowatts, and I'll update a picture on that. It doesn't show because this trip just got reset, but I did 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour the whole way. So that's roughly just under 250 miles range, including highway, where I was doing about 70 miles an hour. And I arrived at my destination with 51% battery, so ahead of the curve. I wasn't hypermiling, I wasn't doing anything crazy. So right now we're gonna load in destination. I'm going back home another 2.5 hours. I'm gonna hit up a Electrify America for the first time. It's a new supercharger station at the Volkswagen plant here on the north side of Chattanooga. So I'm excited about that, and we're gonna plan to probably get there, load it up. It came from the phone, it's figuring it out, and it's showing that we're going to stop at the charger that I need for 35 minutes. So all the details pop up here. I loaded it off the phone and it memorized it, so that worked pretty flawless. Way to go, Ford Pass. Shows the total trip 138 miles, 2 hours 33 minutes. The total trip 3 hours 8 minutes. I'm going to stop at the supercharger for 35 minutes and charge up. It says from 40 something percent to 80%, and then get home with about 30%. So not bad overall. So we'll give it a whirl, and we'll talk on the way home just about how I've been impressed with the first true highway road trip on this truck, especially for standard range. I've been pretty happy. Ford's conservative with the battery. I mean, I wasn't driving anything crazy. I wasn't hypermiling though either. I was going the speed limit the whole time. I was doing 70 to 75 on the highway where I could, and very happy with 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour. If you extract that on the 98 kilowatt hour battery pack, I'm getting just under 250 miles to a full tank on the charge. So pretty happy with that. So we're going to get out here in the next segment. We'll show the supercharger, the new station here just on north side Chattanooga. When I plugged in the route, it said your mileage has been revised for your route, and it's showing now with over 50% battery, 90 miles range realistically, and to my destination, the supercharger, 19 miles. Okay, so we're cruising here just down the road. We are 5.4 miles from the Volkswagen Electrify America supercharger. It's a new station, just opened up a couple months ago. We're getting 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour, but we're going sort of downhill on the highway, doing about 65, 70. Speed limit is 65 here on this highway. So excited to see the station. Unfortunately, there's no restaurants or anything by there. I heard there's not even a bathroom from the reviews, but that's okay. I've stocked up at a local grocery store, so I'm good for the haul. So just want to check out the new station. Hopefully there's nobody there. We'll see what kind of power we're going to be able to pull off of the DC fast charger here, and check it out, and I'll take pictures here and update it on how this goes. So I got plug and charge enabled. That's through Ford and Ford Pass. So in theory, I should be able to plug directly into the car, and it should do a handshake, and it should accept it. There's been a bunch of videos on YouTube about people having issues with this over the last year or so. I'm hoping a lot of that is resolved. Like I said, first time doing this, so we'll see. But otherwise, I got the Electrify America app with a credit card attached to it, so we'll just do it that way. I don't really care either way. Just need to get the charge going. So we'll see which way, and maybe with this being a new supercharger, it's got the latest software on it. So hopefully, fingers crossed for a smooth process. All right, pulling off on Volkswagen Drive, Chattanooga, at their North American production facility here. Got a brand new supercharger, like I mentioned. Pull up, hopefully it'll be easy access. We'll see here. All right, we're just starting to pull in. There is the Volkswagen plant. You can see where they, I think, produce the Atlas, Passat, some of the other cars. I forget what they produce anymore here. All right, we're pulling in here. We'll figure out, see how good these navigation, how good the nav is to get me to the location here. I know it's in the back of the parking lot. I've looked up pictures on PlugShare already. So it shows it's supposed to be back here somewhere. We'll just go to the back of the parking lot. We'll see what we can find. Shows it in 0.3 miles over here. Pretty nice facility here. All right, let's see. A little bus here. Can't stand these speed bumps, good grief. Can almost straddle them in my truck though. Volkswagen vehicles, you'd think we'd start seeing some kind of possible ad. Oh, I think I see it there in the corner. Perfect. So we're right here at the main entrance. Pretty nice. Always wanted to see this facility. A couple of years back, we had a Volkswagen Atlas. We wanted to like the car, had some reliability issues with it. Had a head gasket issue that was common in the first couple of years. So we traded it, but it was a very comfortable ride otherwise. Treated us well. And you can see over here, there's the top of the stalls. So we will see how busy it is. I forgot to even take a peek to see who's using it. And there are no vehicles here. It looks like we got the jackpot. Zoom in here. All right, perfect. You can see all the chargers here. Let's give it a whirl here. All right, so we are here. We're gonna hop out. Let's see how the process goes here. Vehicle's on, I know that. All right, let's pop open the charging port here. Got the charging port open, plug in first. Yep, I know that. So it shows ready. Let's get it. Let's see. Pretty bulky container. Charger's heavy, real heavy. See what we got here. I should have pulled up further. All right, we'll get it all plugged in here, snapped in. Let's see what happens. Connecting to vehicle. See how long the handshake takes on this. It's 92 degrees. You can hear my air conditioner going. All right, session fee there. Use the credit card reader to get started. So let me give it a whirl here and see what happens. All right, so the plug and charge didn't work, but I just scanned it with my credit card, and here we go. So it's gonna start, yeah, 37 cents per minute. I don't want, oh sure, I don't know. Figure all this out in a second here. Entered in my telephone number for a text update. So here we go. It's ramping up here. Let's see what we can get. 60, 70, 90, perfect. Let's see if we can stabilize up to 130 or so. Nice, look at that speed. 150. I think that's close to max for the standard range battery here. There we go. Smooth so far. And again, I don't care pan. I got to figure out why the plug and charge didn't work. It said something on the station, maybe because it's new. It said the member function was not working. So I know with the truck, I get so many free miles. Again, I never road trip. I don't care. As long as I get charged, that's all I care about. So it's peaking out at 162. It's a really good speed. Again, nobody is here. I mean, brand new stations, really nice. Looks like they got, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ports here. It's charger number 6 at the Volkswagen facility. Yeah, Volkswagen Academy over there, but otherwise nothing. We are in an employee parking lot with not much going on here. Here's the truck, looking good here. You hear the fans are blowing. I'm gonna go inside the truck and chill out for a bit. That's a great speed, 163 kilowatts, which is really good. I'm very impressed with that. So let's see what we see in the truck when we get back in. We're already at 51% state charge here. And let's see if I can zoom in here a little bit. There we go. So 52%, it says that I'm going to be at 69% at 1220, I guess, which is the minimum that is saying to get me to my destination. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm gonna make some phone calls. The app has been fairly accurate. If anything, it's on the conservative side, which I like, and very impressed so far with my first Electrify America experience. Again, I'm confused about why plug and play or plug and charge did not work. Any of you guys on the video watching that are more seasoned DC fast charge users, please let me know. Maybe there was something I didn't do, but it's enabled in my app. I double checked that, but again, I could care less. Paid $1.10 so far, so what? Maybe I'll pay $4 or $5 for this whole charge. Again, it's crazy compared to gas, right? Where I would have spent probably about close to $60-70 round trip in my gas F-150. All right, we just hit 80% here. I'm gonna go ahead outside and disconnect the truck. Gosh, it only took, what, about 15 to 20 minutes, super fast. Pretty impressed. We're still showing, it's throttling down to 49 kilowatts just now, but it was over 100 most of that time. By 75%, it throttled down to about 135 kilowatts. Pretty impressive. So we'll go ahead and disconnect here and I'll be right back. All right, well, we are leaving. I actually started to leave and as you saw in the video, I stopped the process, and then I realized, I was looking at my map, like, you know, I might as well squirt another 10% up to 90 just to ensure the range. I got in the truck and it was saying, hey, you need to stop at one more charger, which really wasn't necessary, but it was showing I'd get home at like 5% charge. And so I'm like, you know, I'm not gonna cut this close. I feel good about how the truck was performing on the drive over, and I'm pretty sure I could beat that estimate, but it just didn't want to cut it that close, so I'm at a perfectly good charger. So I went ahead and just added another 10 more minutes to get up to 90%. Now we're getting back on the road. We're saying 120 miles. My truck range is showing 168 miles, and we're ready to rock. And again, like we talked about, the guessometer, you know, it's based on current driving. It's basically a guess. So I use the miles per kilowatt hour. That's a much better indicator of what my actual state of performance is. And once we get on the highway, get some miles under it, should settle out. I was getting about 2.5 miles per kilowatt hour all the way average on my trip, so I expect to do probably close to the same going back. If that's the case, you know, obviously almost a full charge, 100% would net me about just under 250 miles, which is over the range for the Lightning, for my standard range. So I'm exceeding that 90%, what, probably about 220 miles if I'm driving perfect. So I feel comfortable. I got plenty of range, you know, to get me back home. And the big thing why I decided, hey, I'm gonna stop one more time or just get the extra 10% while I'm here, is I don't have any other superchargers between here and Huntsville. There's just nothing. We're sort of in a void here. So Chattanooga is super convenient. There's 2 Electrify America superchargers within close proximity, and that's it. I don't have anything till you know, there's some other charge points and some slower. They're not level 3s. But there's really nothing. So I just wanted to feel comfortable, especially being my first time on the road trip, and get the range while I can, right? It does me nothing when I'm 2 hours down the road, struggling, turn off the air conditioning and everything else to get home. And I know I'm going to get some comments out there from people that are like, oh, you know, that's why you don't buy electric and all that. It's like, I know what the truck's capable of. I know my range. It's well within it. And it's fun. This truck's great. I mean, again, we'll talk here a little bit. We're coming up on 7,000 miles of ownership, just over 7 months of owning the truck. It's been fantastic. For those of you that haven't seen my other videos, I've owned 2 other ICE conventional F-150s over the last year and a half, a 5.0 Lariat, a 3.5 twin turbo EcoBoost hybrid, or excuse me, Power Boost hybrid. That was fantastic before getting the Lightning, and this is my favorite. I mean, I know the limitations. There are limitations to EV driving. As I've talked about in my other videos, I mainly drive around town. This is my first road trip in just nearly 7 months. First time to use a DC fast charger. So as you can see, for my use around town, this truck's perfect. I charge my garage, and that's what's really accounted for the really low operating costs that I've had. I basically pay 1/3 of the cost of fuel that I paid in the other gas trucks. I keep pretty detailed stats on that for my charger and mileage for my previous ownership of those other trucks. Again, I love gas trucks. I think they're fantastic. I just don't really tow much or have a need, to have that gas truck where I'm doing road trips or commuting to work constantly, where DC fast charging can be a pain. My thoughts initially on that fast charge experience while we're talking, I was impressed that it actually worked. I was happy with that. 2 times I connected, no issues either time. It was fast. I definitely see what people talk about past 80%. Like they said, they don't recommend you really DC fast charge past 80%. It gets super slow, and it did. It took me 18 minutes to go from 40 something to 80%, and another 10 minutes to go from 80 to 90. So it really trickles off. I was getting about 38 kilowatts at the end there. So it really slows down. But I can see it, for what this trip is, it wasn't bad. It was a nice little stop, stretch my legs a little bit. I can see it a nicer stop where there's restaurants or Walmart. It would go by super fast, but I mean, this went by fast for me. 28 minutes, checked some emails, made a few phone calls, and next thing you know, I'm back on the road. But again, I'm not naive, right? I mean, if I'm doing a road trip across the country, it's going to add a lot of time. It's going to be annoying trying to stop until you get more comfortable, at least for me, until I get more comfortable with how far I can truly push the truck range-wise. And again, we're counting on all these stations to really work. I have high hopes next year, especially with everyone going to the North American charging standard of Tesla, that things are going to get better. There'll probably be some pain in the short term. Tesla chargers aren't optimized for the size of this truck, especially parking and pulling in and the cable length. But, at least there's going to be some options. And I'm really hopeful with all these companies that have signed up to do Tesla charging or to get into their network, that they're going to help Tesla build even more chargers. That's what we need. We just need more quantity. I mean, it's crazy that between here and my round North Alabama, there's nothing. I mean, we need more stations. And again, it's a more of a philosophical talk for later. I'm not like saying battery is going to be the future. It could be a really decent option. I could see around town, it's a fantastic option. I love it. But there's always going to be probably a place in my lifetime for gas cars. We recently purchased my wife a new 3.0 Duramax Yukon, and I may do a review on that later. And talk about perfect complement. I got a diesel truck or diesel SUV. That thing gets nearly 700 miles to a tank. I'm getting 30 miles to the gallon on that on the highway. Around town, 24 to 25 miles per gallon, and a beast of a vehicle. So I'm tickled. We love that thing. It's got a lot of power. We'll see about the reliability, though. A lot of emissions. These, DEF emission vehicles, diesels. There's some issues. Definitely not like the gas models, but the efficiency so far has been great. But back to my point is, my setup's perfect. I got an electric truck that we do a ton of errands in. We use the truck capability. I'm driving around town daily in it. It's great. The cost to operate are really low. And then we got a road trip beast diesel that I can go anywhere in the country and not have to worry about it. So until we really get to where there's a ton of chargers, let me get around the semi here real quick. Until we get to where there's a ton of chargers and the charging speed increases even a little bit more, I just don't see how we're going to have widespread EV adoption. But in the meantime, for people like myself and other EV owners that maybe, like I said, you're driving around town, you tow, but you don't need to tow far, this vehicle is perfect. I mean, I would buy another F-150 Lightning tomorrow. I'll probably do another video updating my pros and cons list of the truck, but I will say, I was telling my wife and friends just on the phone calls a few minutes ago, this thing is so comfortable on the highway. I've alluded to the ride in previous videos. This thing is super comfortable. It just glides down the highway. You can really rack up some miles. It's a lot more comfortable than my other previous two. All right, my camera cut out there. I got a phone call. So we were, I think, talking about the independent rear suspension. Really creates that smooth ride. Like I said, my wife's Yukon has it. It just feels like the Lightning is that much more smooth, probably due to the battery weight as well, being low slung. Just has a really cush ride. I've used the term Lincoln Town Car. That's how it feels, minus the leather, right? Cloth seats. But it's comfy for a truck. I love it. This thing has just really been great on the highway so far today. So we're just on the other side of Chattanooga. Went through some a little bit of a thunderstorm, pretty torrential downpour for about 15 minutes, and we're on the other side. Typical southeast in the summer. Temperature went way down from 94 to 79, so that's nice. Cooled it off a little bit. Truck is showing right now the guessometer. Like I said, I don't follow, but it's on the comm screen because I want the battery percentage. That's another con. Ford, they need to put that battery percentage on the other driving screens. It's pretty helpful to have so I can do my mental math. But it's saying that my truck's got about 135 mile range, and to my destination, 82 miles. I'm going to exceed that. It's conservative, which is good, so I'm comfortable. I'm going to make it home. Map over here, I looked at it a minute ago, and it shows it will arrive with about 30-something% battery. So we'll see how close that is. Let me see here. It's saying home now at 29% battery. So we'll see how accurate that gets. But that's not bad. It's comfortable. I'm fine. Like I said, we're about to turn off the county highways here in about 10 minutes as well. So that'll increase my range, as the speed's typically 55 mile an hour, 60 miles an hour on those roads. But pretty impressed with the truck. So we're talking about the range and the fast charging again. Without getting philosophical, I mean, we'll see what the future of EVs become in America. But I'm very excited to see what the Lightning second generation is going to be. I've been following the new Chevy Silverado EV. That looks very nice, and the range is going to be pretty good. I think, 450 miles, but again, they're using a massive battery. I mean, that battery is probably almost double the size of the one in my truck. So big battery. That's the only way you're going to get the mileage with the current technology, is just to increase the size of that. But it would be nice to have, I'm not going to lie, but that truck's going to come at a price, right? It's going to be pretty expensive. I think that RST model is $90,000, $100,000. I don't know. It's just out of what I want to pay, so I'm not too interested to follow the specs of it outside of the technical side of it. But that leads me to talk about the second generation Lightning, which Ford is underway with their plant actually down here close by in Tennessee, and it's going to be truly an EV platform. So I'm very excited to see what Ford's going to crank out for the second gen. And who knows, if it looks good on paper, I would have no qualms about signing up to be an initial purchaser of the Gen 2 Lightning. I've been very impressed, knock on plastic, with my current Lightning. It's been super reliable. I haven't had any more glitches that I talked about months ago. I actually think, from further research, my glitches that I had with the front motor disconnected and all that were actually due to causing them myself, is what I'm trying to say. During all that issues with the forward passive modem not working, I was resetting the fuse, resetting the 12 volt battery a few times, and I think those were induced through those actions, which, I should have been fooling with it, but I wanted my forward pass to work, and that was the only quick fix while I waited over a month to get the software patch from Ford finally. And after that software, it's been great, and I've also had no over-the-air update issues. Well, we're about 12 miles from home. We are beating the Ranger. We're at 44% state of charge. Probably get home, I guess, 38%, and showing 78 miles. So the guessometers we knew, it's a guess, right? I've mentioned that before, and it was showing leaving the station like 180 miles, and then with my driving habits, it sort of stayed there, barely losing any range or guesstimated range. So again, like I mentioned earlier, and what a lot of people talk about on the Lightning forums or electric cars in general, you got to use your miles per kilowatt hour and do your own mental math and double check it. And for this trip, I was going a little bit faster, just trying to race home, and I was comfortable with my battery, and I'm showing 2.3 miles per kilowatt hour, so not bad. Still pretty much the stated range of the truck, and that's with highway. That was about easily 60-70% highway on there, where I was going 70 to 75. So really happy with the range of the truck. Overall, solid day. First road trip, successful road trip. My anxiety about doing a road trip is sort of eased up a little bit. Had a good positive experience at the Electrify America. Maybe a fluke because it's a new station, but it worked for me. It worked well. And the truck, again, just performs great. Super comfortable. I'm getting really good range out of it, and enjoyed myself for the most part on this drive outside of the weather, the storm that I had to go through. But anyway, I'll upload this and maybe some pictures from the stats of it. But again, thanks for watching. I hope you found this helpful. If you got any questions about it, please feel free to leave them in the comments.